Welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So we are looking at the issue that happened in Ogun State recently, where some government, sorry, the local government chairman, were accusing the governor of misappropriating funds meant for local government. But this is not the first time we are hearing such allegation. The one is strange is that we saw a video that went viral online, where the local government chairman gathered themselves before the governor, start prostrating and apologizing. What is your reaction?
Thank you. Good morning. It is unfortunate that we are having this kind of a situation in our nation. The governors have become demigods in their various states, and from time to time, they tinker with the funds meant for local government. At will, they have always been doing that at will. So, the information that that particular chairman gave wasn't new. We have always known that they do that with local government force. Um, this is very unfortunate that Governor Abiodun is also being found in such.
Being accused.
No, he hasn't come out to deny the accusation. I'm not aware that he has denied, but we can still call it accusation anyway. So he's being accused of tinkering with local government funds. And the unfortunate thing further that we have just said is that chairmen now gathered to video that went viral, prostrating and apologizing. They don't expect anybody to speak up, and I think that is the issue. They never expected that any of their members, as chairmen of local governments, will come up and say it the way it is. And I think some of them feel that they want to remain in the good books of the governor, and that is why the people put themselves together. They felt that the governor has been embarrassed with that statement, and that is why they are putting themselves together to begin to apologize again, rather than confronting the situation headlong to ensure that the governor doesn't tamper with funds meant for local government. So it is unfortunate that we're having that situation in Ogun State.
Now, quickly talk to us about the issue of a coup that is raging in Africa. We understand that Nigeria seems to be a little bit different, because even if you say Gabon, that the president have ruled for 40 years, the father ruled for 40 years before handing over to the father ruled for 41 years before the son took over. In Cameroon, we have a situation where Paul Biya have ruled for 40 years. Now, you cannot say the same of Nigeria. But we are seeing here, say, federal government dismisses coup fear. And else, we are seeing another one that says, all generals warn politicians against poor governance. Does it mean our government is equally apprehensive? I mean, Nigeria here.
Definitely, the government of Nigeria is apprehensive of the wave of coup that is ravaging range of coup that is ravaging Africa at this point in time, particularly the francophone countries, and that's what we have seen so far. It is ravaging the entire. The francophone country. It's a genuine fear. And it is rather unfortunate as well that rather than looking at the disease, they kept treating the symptoms.
That's quite unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Democracy, as I used to say now, democracy is fast becoming a scam, particularly in Africa. Not because democracy is bad as a system of government, but the practitioners of democracy in Africa have bastardized that system of government. And I think that is the reaction. So they say for every action there is a corresponding reaction. That is the reaction that we are seeing in some of these countries. You claimed that countries have independence, yet they are being held by the jugular.
But the government of Nigeria seems to be confident with the loyalty of the military hierarchy. Because we are saying, yes, the minister says no plan for military shake-up. Tinubu not at war with Niger. Good leadership, respect for constitution, critical, as chief of defence staff, others. So, but the question is, it seems Nigerian government is comfortable with the loyalty of the military hierarchy in Nigeria, since we are seeing that the minister in charge of defence is saying no plan for military shake-up.
They will always claim to be confident. They will always claim to have loyalty of the military. Nobody is clamoring for coup. In my view, nobody is really clamoring for coup in Nigeria. But the real issues has to be addressed, and that is what I want to spend. I want to lay emphasis on. I don't know who is making that comment that it is good governance that will avert what they are saying.
As Nigerian general
is making that, and that is my position. Good governance. Well, when people can no longer see the difference between a democratic government and military, they will embrace anything, call it any name.
Because a better alternative.
You understand? Exactly. You can give it any name. They don't care because they are not seeing any difference. And I think that is what our leaders must begin to look at. Don't just say we have a democracy when all the things that should come with democracy are being put aside. The people cannot connect to what makes a democracy. You suppress them even before, during politics. You suppress opposition parties. You use force that you claim the military are using. You subvert the justice system and make it not to work. People cannot get justice and all of that. When you begin to work these are democracy, we are already creating threats for democratic government. And that is what we are beginning to see happening in some of the Francophone countries. And that is what the military are equally capitalizing on.
Now, conclusively, some people have argued that the worst democracy is better than the best military. Is it something you concur to?
Not at all. It is a scam. It was recently that I discovered that
let us get your view.
It is a complete scam. Don't give me that quote that the worst of the democratic government is better than military. Not at all. How do you justify that when you are doing worse than the military? What has changed is your attire. Probably by now you are not putting on an agbada, but every other thing that the military does, you are doing more. So how is it better? So that's my view.
Thank you very much.
Many thanks, my brother.
Thank you very much.